I am aware this is a terrible angle. I'm not giving beauty advice, so okay, so this will be power video number 2. I'm late. I'm late for meeting 2 friends for lunch, for dinner, whatever, I don't know, dinner, my dad calls it. And so I hear Baba say, show up powerfully late. So I'm just playing in my mind with, I say in the Renegade Yogi meditation, it's peaceful power, like that raw, pure love in the center of your being. When I say bathe in your own divinity, that raw, peaceful power, it's like pure love, peace, power, everything all there. Everything's all there. It's like I am all I need. It's difficult to describe. That's why I like to take people on a meditation and get them into that energy of like, yeah, there's your raw, peaceful, powerful, pure love. This is who you really are. This is your divinity. This is the I am. Your I am. Okay. So you say, show up powerfully late. And after I made the last video and I listened to it back, I haven't posted it yet, but I listened to it back, and so while I'm listening to myself do that, after I recorded that video, I can hear Baba say, showing me more information. So here we go again, round 2. So it's like, you have to like share what you can share, and then you can go deeper and deeper. So I was thinking about showing up powerfully late, and then I don't know, just mentally jumped to friendships that I've had to let go of. But I don't whine and complain and throw a tantrum and just like scream and cry. I just say, okay, this isn't working for me. And so one of the ones I was thinking of, I had the same best friend for 35 years. Hilarious, one of the funniest people that has probably ever walked the earth, and I did not want to lose that person. So I hid how I really felt about things, and I just kept my mouth shut. So I hid from her who I really was, because I just didn't want to fight. I disagreed with a lot, but I was holding her in my life. Was it selfish? Maybe, was it unkind? It didn't feel unkind. We love each other. We still love each other. Just don't hang out. And I don't talk about things with her. She thinks differently than me, and words are a minefield, so would not be a positive experience for anyone. So I love her from here. Now, was I a bad friend because I didn't tell her how I really felt about, and that I disagreed? Maybe. Does it matter? No. It doesn't matter. If she wants to look at me and say, you were a terrible friend and you were selfish to keep me in your life, and lie by omission, like I was being truthful and honest with you about everything the way I saw it and felt it, and you were smiling and nodding that whole time, like I thought you were agreeing with me and you weren't, like I was basically sitting and waiting for the next funny thing to come out of her mouth. And so if she wants to look at that and say, you were not the friend I thought you were, so you were a liar, then I'd say, okay, I honor that perception of me, and I can live with that. If she thinks I'm this horrible person because I was dishonest about who I was by keeping my mouth shut, then I made my choices then, but I bless myself then. I forgive myself then. I respect my free will choices at that time to just stay quiet when I disagreed, because I know my childhood, so I know that when I kept my mouth shut, there was peace. If I disagreed out loud, there was no peace. And so by keeping my mouth shut, I was choosing peace. I talk about the throat chakra all the time, and I think there's a reason most thyroid issues are women's issues. It's like one in every 5. It's like 20% of women have thyroid issues. And the thyroid is like a butterfly with its wings wrapped around your throat right here. That's co-located with your throat chakra, communication, self-expression. So if you talk too much, it's like a bucket with a hole in it. You can never keep it filled. You know, some people are uncomfortable with clean, no talking, so they fill that space with talking, and that's the bucket with a hole in it. And then other people keep their mouths shut. There's 2 ways to keep your mouth shut. The way I used to keep my mouth shut was out of fear, because I didn't want to get yelled at. I didn't want people to yell at me. Well, that's a result from my childhood, my imperfect caregivers who were just old children. My parents didn't do anything wrong. They lived the way they lived. Their imperfect caregivers gave them an imperfect childhood, and every generation builds on the last. So we are where we are, and I love my parents. They didn't do anything wrong. They did the best they could. I'm doing the best that I can. With my kids, I'm doing the best that I can. Baby. Maybe I'm not. There's a big yawn here, so maybe I'm really not doing the best I can. Alright, so I'm going to have to look at that. Not right now. But now I keep my mouth shut out of love for myself. I don't want to engage. I don't want drama. It's not that I'm afraid. It's just, and truthfully, most people don't know what I'm saying, because when you see yourself above the spectrums, and you can see everybody's point of view because you're actually listening. 5th agreement, be skeptical but learn to listen. But when you are listening to every single person on the spectrum, because you really have a true desire to hear their points of view, and then they're describing their points of view, and when people tell you who they are, you listen. So that puts you above the spectrum, because you start listening to people with opposing points of view, and you say, oh, I can understand why you would get there, and I can understand why they would get there, and I can understand why you guys would oppose each other. All right, so I understand. But most people try and listen to me and try to figure out which side are you on. And it's like, I'm not on a side, and they're like, yeah, right, everybody's on a side. Okay. Well, egoically, yes. Physical world, yes. There are 2 sides. Makes it simple, makes it easy. But when your priority is a spiritual directed life, it's not always 2-sided. So I started a long time ago when I disagreed with the other side, when I had a firm opinion. I listened to, why does the other side think polar opposite to me? And then through my life, my angels, or however, my higher self, whatever, would bring me into contact. It would be like I'm waiting in one of the scenarios. I was waiting in a doctor's waiting area, and there's one other person there. This happened twice. One was a doctor's office, and one was a blood draw place. No, it happened a 3rd time too. It'd be like waiting in a waiting area, and there's only one other person there, and a conversation starts, and then I get to hear why the other side thinks blah blah blah. Okay, so anyway, it's very freeing when you put yourself in someone else's shoes. If I had a nickel for every time my mom said that growing up. All right, but now I'm way off the topic of power. So Neem Curly Baba likes when I say, that doesn't matter, that doesn't matter, that doesn't matter. So whether I was a terrible friend to my friend because I hid who I truly to change. Now, it could be that her ego's got a really strong hold over her. It could be that she's following her spirit life path by holding those beliefs so strongly. So it could be that she needs to stay in that reality. Not, it's arrogant. It would be arrogant if I said, no, you need to listen to me and you need to see the other side. Because maybe her spiritual purpose has to do with staying on that side and really rooting in and grounding in to, no, I'm positive, I'm sure of this. There's a video I want to share, I'm just going to mention right now. Some guy I never heard of, some YouTuber. When I took my dog to the vet, I was guided to look at this magazine. I think it was like a People magazine. Oh, and I was like, why am I in this magazine right now? And then all of a sudden I saw why. Some YouTuber just killed himself. So I want to post that. But he said I started watching his video that he posted. He posted a video before he killed himself. And oh my God, I don't know him, but I love him. He was nailing it. He was just like, was it the social media that's making me want to kill myself? I don't know. Is it, he was listing all these things. And then he said, I was so sure of what I was saying. I was so sure. He says, and now I'm like too much of a coward or something to face the consequences of all that. And people tried to help me and I said no to all this. Oh my God, I love him. I don't know him, but I'm gonna obsessively watch probably 90% of his videos now because this is what I do. I'm like, I love him. So, what a cool thing he did. It's sad that he killed himself. But what a cool thing to post a video before he kills himself to apologize to all these people and to take responsibility for not receiving help and for just amazing. I love people. I love people. People get us into the problems that we have, but people always get us out of them too. And maybe it's because I'm a healer and I get to see people's deepest stuff, but oh my God. It's hard not to fall in love with people when they're really giving you their honest grit stories and experiences. I think it's hard. It's really hard not to listen and just fall in love with them. Not that I don't take anybody's. I don't need to take their side. No. Anyway, well, okay, fast note. So taking somebody's side doesn't help them either because all the healing happens in the neutral space. So where the pendulum hangs straight down, that's where the healing happens, the neutral space. So if you take somebody's side, you're pulling the pendulum to one side and you're saying, yeah, you're right, and you're against whatever they're against. And if you play devil's advocate, you're pulling the pendulum basically to the other side, and then all that happens at that point is their ego digs in and just it anchors them actually into their position when you play devil's advocate. When someone really needs healing, the only way is to be completely neutral. So the most neutral the space you can hold, the more neutral the space you can hold, the more healing can actually happen. All right, so that's a side note. You're welcome for the tangent. So, did I do my friendships wrong? Maybe. Because I just had to let another person go too. And they were screaming at me. They screamed at me, and then 2 months later, screamed at me again after they said, "Are we friends?" And I said, "No, I don't like the choices that you make. I don't like, the way you live your life." All that, and so that was hard for that person to hear. And they screamed, "Thank you for showing me your true colors." I said, "You're welcome." And then, so I bless, forgive, respect their free will choice to scream at me, and I love them from here. But friendship with someone who's going to scream at me for giving someone they hate a book, it's just not going to work. It's not going to work out. So I'm not going to sit in that friendship and defend myself. I'm just going to say, peace out. So if they choose to scream, then that's their choice. Oh my God! So I just channeled Baba for a client, and I taped it. I think I gotta take notes. So cool what he says about the ego, and when you can break your ego, you can stand there and be screamed at. Like, my ego's not gone by any imagination. I mean, I work at stuff and all, but I can understand now why I understand. I can understand why I can understand to the level that I can, because I have worked so hard for so long at breaking my own ego. This is very cool. So I can let people like this old friend scream at me and say horrible things, and I can say, okay, you're welcome. Because I know we're both better off not in the friendship. So I can powerfully show up as not willing to participate in that friendship. And the more powerfully, that person's going to go off the rails anyway. That person is just going to go off. That's just what's going to happen. But the more powerfully I can show up and hold the boundary of, this relationship does not serve either one of us. And I just show up powerfully. You're welcome. Okay? I said to my dad before about that relationship, I said, should I call her? Should I give her closure? My dad says, people get their own closure. You can't give closure to somebody else. And that was a pretty profound conversation. My dad's amazing. So powerfully showing up to say no. And I have a friend. We used to see each other a lot more because she was just more close by, and I didn't have 2 kids, whatever. But this friend I had asked to borrow my tent. And I have this thing about my tents, all my camping stuff. I don't mind sleeping bags too much, but my tents, I've gotten tents back broken, missing a pole, missing a piece, and I'd rather lend someone underwear than a tent, actually, if you want to know. Probably don't. But I took I knew that, I could see it too. It was for a wedding, and they were asking for tents from everybody, and she knew I had tents. So I'm going to give her one of my tents, and I took it all apart, and I put flour duct tape on every single piece so that all my tent stuff would stay together. But as I was going through this, big rigmarole in my living room, I could see in my mind that people were going to get the tents, but they weren't going to set the tents up until after the wedding, while they're drunk. And my first fiance and I set up a tent in the dark, and we couldn't make it work. We couldn't figure it out. We were sober, and we put holes in it because we tied socks together and I was like, oh, this is not gonna be good. And then they're not gonna care. These people are gonna take the tent down, throw it all back. They're not gonna treat my tent. So anyway, I was like, and my friend says, just say no. Just say no. And she was right. Like, if I had just said no, can I borrow your tent? No. And then if I was like powerfully, peacefully, pure love, and I counted myself, do I want to let someone who's drunk in the dark use my tent? And no, I don't. And I'm not a materialistic person, but if you've ever gone camping, if you've ever found a tent that's quick, easy to set up, it's light so you can backpack and carry it with you, and I sound very materialistic, but if I am, so who cares? My tents are very important to me. apologies. So my friend saying, just say no. You know, like, Carla, stop dragging us both through all this drama about your effing tent and just say no. I mean, that was such good advice. I was like, you're so right. No. And it was so hard to say no to her because I love her and I want to make her happy, and if she wants to borrow my tent, it's not a big deal. I want to give it to her. I do. But I don't. Okay. So, by leaving certain friendships and relationships, not early, but right on time, it's the same as, so I don't want to say that. By allowing certain friendships and relationships to end when they no longer serve both people, by allowing the friendship or the relationship to just pass away, like die a natural death, instead of trying to keep it on life support, it's like saying no when someone says, can I borrow your tent? No, sorry, I know myself well enough to know that I'm really weird about my tents. So it's going to be better for both of us if I just say no now. So saying no, you can't borrow my tent, but without apology, just powerfully, peacefully, lovingly for myself, because I count in the equation. Powerful. And when you count in the equation and you're powerfully, peacefully, lovingly you, and you love yourself also powerfully, peaceful, lovingly, you're going to make better choices. And you're going to make them right away. So now when people say, can I borrow you? Do you have a tent I could borrow? No, sorry. I don't say sorry. I do say sorry. I say no, sorry, and then I fix it. Because I'm not really sorry. Because I really just don't want to. I learned my lesson. Just say no. So then, applying that same logic to this relationship with this person no longer serves us. That's just what's happening now. Because I want to live to be 120 years old. You know? So I got 71 more years. And if I keep stressing, if I allow myself to stress in the heart, or hearts in Sunday's meditations, and please stop squeezing me. You know, you're squeezing me for like 5 minutes, 15 minutes, because you're going to be late, and then you arrive at your destination within a half an hour of the squeezing, and you're fine, and your heart's saying, please just don't squeeze me for like 5 to 15 minutes. If it's, if you're getting chased by a bear, like, okay, but if you're just late for an appointment, don't squeeze me. Don't let the stress, like, squeeze me, your heart. Because if you want to live to 120, you can't just squeeze me for no reason. And being a little late is not a good reason to your heart. Because if you're going to be fine in 15 minutes when you arrive, don't squeeze me now. Okay, so you get that. All right, so I think that's all I have to say. Let me just scan. So, powerfully, peacefully, and lovingly, pure, raw love showing up in your life may require you, well, no, it will require you to change dynamics in your relationships. And changing the dynamic, it takes one person. I deal with this constantly with my healing clients. Changing it when you want to heal, it requires, there's no way around changing a dynamic in at least one relationship, whether it's a spouse or family members or work, whatever. Healing does not happen, or with yourself, changing the dynamic with yourself, like when I said, I'm I'm doing the best I can as a mother, and then I had a big fat yawn, I have to look at that, because if it were true that I was doing my absolute best as a mother, I wouldn't have had a big fat yawn. I would be like, I'm not tired. So, okay. So healing, growing, always is going to require moving towards becoming more powerful, breaking your ego to a certain degree, and shifting the dynamic in at least one relationship. So, no is a complete sentence, and when you say no without saying you're sorry, because you count yourself and your own joy and your own happiness and your own vibration of joy, 540, to keep you healed and healing, moving forward on a path of healing. When you make decisions, counting yourself and your own joy in the equation, you're going to shift all your relationships, actually. Will end up shifting, and you will raise your vibration, and at the same time you will be creating higher vibrational relationships. Alright. So as you step into your power, and you just be okay with, oh well, I could see this relationship needs to shift into like purely texting. So my old best friend, we text. We have nothing against each other. I love her. I want her to be so happy. I want her to just always be happy, healthy, healed. And if someday ever comes where she needs me, I'll be there.